Welcome to Chalk Talk, a weekly preview of West Tennessee football featuring the Jackson Sun sports team here on JacksonSun.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Week 10 high school football edition of Chalk Talk here at JacksonSun.com. My name is Craig Thomas. This is the sports editor and high school football beat writer for the Jackson Sun, Brandon Shields. We are at Week 10, the final week of the regular season.
Only took us 11 weeks to get here.
Right, yeah. It's funny how that works. But we're at Week 10. Lots of good games to look forward to. We've got some district championships at stake. We've got some playoff spots certainly at stake all over the place. And, we'll start with a game that's actually here. We're filming this Thursday, and it's a Thursday night game. Liberty hosts Ripley. What are you looking for tonight?
Yeah, I think this is the closest thing we've ever been to actually live talking about a game. But yeah, I'm going to be up there tonight. It's going to be a good game for Liberty, I think, as far as should be a good playoff warm-up for them. They've already got the district championship. They had a great game last week, beating Millington 63-10. Everything is firing on all cylinders. At this point, it's almost like you remember a couple of years ago when the Indianapolis Colts, when they still had Peyton Manning as quarterback, they were like 14-0, 15-0, and at that, or maybe they had one or two losses, and they were so far ahead of everybody in the AFC South that they started sitting, and they got a lot of flack for sitting the starters the last couple of games. You could almost say Liberty's in that kind of situation this year, tonight. But they're probably going to play, first of all, Liberty even if this game meant something, Liberty should handle this game pretty easily. Ripley hadn't had a great season. If they win, I think they're in contention for possibly making the playoffs, but they still would need a lot of help to do it. But even if that were on the line and were more serious on the line, serious implication to this game, I don't think that Liberty would have the horses or Ripley would have the horses to stay with Liberty. And I think Devin Bush, Willie Pearson, Corey Newble, all those guys are going to put the points on the board in the first half, probably go up 28, 35, maybe even 42 points at halftime, and then coach rest in the second half.
I'm sure that's something he'd be happy to do anyway if they were in that situation.
And considering the fact that we got an 11 o'clock deadline, I'll be glad with that too.
All right. USJ's game against St. George's this week is one that you've written about several times, kind of looking forward to that Week 10 game. It's sort of been looming, I feel like, for the last few weeks as a key game for USJ. What do you expect for the Bruins in that game?
Well, ever since the TSSAA lined out that there was going to be these two teams plus three teams that weren't going to really compete with these three, this game's been looming pretty much all year because everybody kind of knew this was going to be the district championship because Fayette, Ware, Rossville, and Tipton aren't going to compete with those two teams. USJ's played some good ball coming in though. Good defensive win last week to beat Chester County in their winning streak. They hadn't lost since week 0 coming into that game, and they beat them. They've been dealing with some injuries in their start lineup. Wrote about Michael Taylor in Faith in Practice this week. He's been out initially dealing with his neck problems after he had whiplash a couple weeks ago, while also dealing with issues with his family and his mother's death. Holland Spencer's been out. I think he's expected to play this week. It'll be his first game back in a while. While these guys haven't been playing, it's given room for some other guys like Holland Hawks. When neither Spencer nor Taylor played against South Gibson, Holland Hawks stepped up and had 2, 3, maybe even 4 touchdown catches against South Gibson. Really helped them stay in the game. They didn't beat South Gibson, but they stayed in the game and competed well with them. So you've got the old standbys for Easton Underwood to throw to, and you've got a couple more new guys coming in. It's going to be really hard for St. George's to make sure to defend all those guys, and they got to make sure that all those guys are defended because any of them could hurt St. George's on the scoreboard.
All right, Trinity Christian Academy had a big game here in Jackson last week, beating Evangelical Christian School in the last few seconds. They go to 2 district play, go to Riverside out in Decatur County. What are you looking for out of that game?
I'll go ahead and be honest with you. TCA, on paper, this game looks like it's how a lot of TCA games look going in, that TCA will probably win 70-42, 70-49, something like that. Not a lot of defense, just TCA outscores people. Here's why I give Riverside a chance, though. First of all, they may not have as many offensive weapons, but Riverside's got some offensive weapons to match up with TCA. You've got Drake Smith at quarterback. He's throwing to Riley Coleman. Devin Cannon's there. Shamar Powell is there. They've had some other guys who can help too, but those are the main four. Then you think about the fact that TCA is coming off a game in which, yeah, it was a great win. Were you at that game?
Yes.
Yeah, you covered that game last week. It was an emotional game.
Oh, absolutely.
If there was ever such thing as a trap for TCA, which we may have called previous games in the season traps for TCA, this could be a trap too, because they're looking ahead that as long as they win the district championship, they've got a bye next week. And they don't have the district championship wrapped up. If they win, they get it. But Riverside's aiming to topple TCA off the pedestal that they've been on the last couple of years or so, and so TCA coming off that ECS win may be prime for the topple.
You talk about being on the pedestal. Crockett County's #1 in the Dirty Dozen. They've been perhaps the most consistently impressive team in rural West Tennessee all year. Looking to go 10-0 as they take on Martin Westview, a team that has obviously some great playoff credentials from the past few years. They've done a really strong program. Coach Banan Cody, what are you looking for out of that Crockett County Westview game?
Well, I was going to say if there's any other team that has been as consistent as Crockett County, it's Union City. It's kind of hard to argue with them. But Crockett County, you got Johnny Jones, you got a good defense that didn't let Lexington cross the 50-yard line last week, and that includes a drive in which Lexington got the ball on the 49, and they didn't cross the 50 on that. They actually went backwards. You got a good offensive line. Cade Parlow at quarterback, he's got the ability, if they need him to get the ball to guys like Deshaun Pickens and a few Jeremiah Nance and other Clark Scott. But they haven't needed to depend on them to do that. Westview, if anybody is going to make Crockett try to use that passing game because they need to, Westview could be the team to do it. They got a good defense. They've also got a good balanced offense. So if there's any problem with the secondary in Crockett, which there has been at times this year, if Dallas Callens can get that ball to Parker Beal, to Jason Hicks, those are a couple of really good receivers that have gotten a lot of receiving yards for Westview this year. This one could be just as much of a classic as the one last year in Alamo, in which Westview had to kick like nearly a 50-yard field goal into the wind as time expired to get the district runner-up.
A big game down in Savannah. One of the larger schools in our area, Hardin County, has a district championship game, in fact, against Mumford. What do you expect for Hardin County?
This one's going to be an interesting matchup. I wrote about this game earlier in the week, and Coach Smith, Matthew Smith, Hardin County's coach, he talked about Mumford's bringing in the triple option offense. You know, when the last time was Hardin County matched up with a triple option team, a true triple option team, it was about 2008 when their assistant coach Will Gilchrist was the senior quarterback. So it's been a while since they've seen this. Obviously, nobody on the team right now has played defense against a triple option team, at least in high school. You know, the key to their win will be, can they figure out, you know, they've been coached how to defend the triple option all week, but you're never going to know what they're going to do until they actually go against that offense. If they can figure it out quickly and make the stops, everybody on defense stay home and make sure that they defend their area, it can be a good night as long as Cal Goblin and Nick Godwin do what they do for Hardin County. Yeah,
it's tough. I've seen some of the college teams around here struggle with defending that triple option offense. It's, for whatever reason, just causes people a lot of problems.
Some of those colleges struggle defending any kind of offense, but
yeah, probably to some degree.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be a big week this week, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, lots to look forward to. Obviously, we appreciate you sticking with us throughout each week during the course of the season, and we'll have all that same coverage and some more coming up as we get into the playoffs. Obviously, some stories throughout the week that you've been seeing. Friday morning, make sure you get that paper. It's got the stats. All the schools are called in stats, and then the Blitz section with the preview capsules for all the games we talked about and several others that'll happen here in West Tennessee. Friday night we'll have reporters throughout the area at some of these big games. We'll have stories, we'll have photos, and hopefully some videos as well that you can check out on JacksonSun.com. Then Saturday morning you can check out that print section and get really a good glimpse of where everything stands. You know, on a key Saturday morning West Tennessee, because pretty soon we'll be finding out what the playoff situation looks like, I guess, right?
Yeah, Saturday the TSSAA will release, I think about 10 a.m. is when they're scheduled to release the brackets. It may be later depending on if they have a hard time figuring stuff out, which they have had that problem in past years. But hopefully we're going to have the full brackets for the playoffs affecting our area, which would be Division II and all the Division Ones up to Class 5A with Hardin County in Sunday's paper. So you can fill out your brackets, have a bracket pool if you wanted to.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. This guy's JS editor Brandon. He'll have halftime and full game scores on Friday night, and then also like us on Facebook, Jackson Sun Sports. We thank you for checking us out, and we hope to see you this week. Have a great week.
See ya.